I've been contemplating for months trying to figure out how to get back into the YouTube game. I took a year hiatus off of YouTube and I just was in a weird funk with my craft business and where I was going to move forward. So I decided I'm just going to record. I'm just going to be me. I'm just going to be completely honest on the journey I've been on. And for those of you who don't know me, let me tell you a little bit about myself. So my name is S. I am very familiar with YouTube. I have a channel called For Me to Do where I documented my personal spiritual growth journey and just being raw and being just completely pure on YouTube has allowed me to branch off into other industries that I love very much. And I wanted to start a channel where I talk about the business side of myself and what I've been through on my journeys. Being on YouTube and starting a business is not easy. And I've always admired women who come on here and they're just in front of the camera and they can speak. And I used to be so worried about all these little things that don't matter. If you want to follow me and follow this channel, then I suggest you subscribe because I'm going to dive deep into the craft world. I am a serial crafter, like cereal. I've tried knitting, I've tried embroidering, I've tried sewing, I've tried painting, I've tried writing, I've tried every type of craft business you could possibly think of. And have not been successful in any of those. And it wasn't because I can't learn the skill or I just didn't like it. It was because I gave up. It was because I simply just gave up. And I didn't have strategy. I didn't have any type of belief in what I was doing. So I wanted to start this YouTube channel to kind of let people understand that no matter what you do, no matter what your business, what your industry, you have to have a plan. You have to be able to do the stuff that isn't pretty. So in today's video, we're gonna break down the essentials of starting your own craft business and staying motivated so you don't give up. So if you're ready to turn your craft into a somewhat successful business, subscribe and follow me on my journey and try to learn from not only my mistakes, but all the wonderful YouTubers on here who have done such a great job at explaining what and what not to do. Here's a little bit about myself for those of you who don't know me. My name is S and I am a candle maker. I loved candles, so I thought this would be a great business to get into. And I quickly started to hate it, like almost immediately. I hated how much money I was spending on materials. I hated recording. I hated that my whole apartment was smelling like cinnamon bagels and whatever scents that I used to choose. I grew to hate it. I felt like I was not making money, and I've been in the business for about 2 years now. I was not making any type of profit, and it was embarrassing. And because I got embarrassed, I simply just decided to take a seat back and just not follow my craft instead of getting down and figuring out what was wrong with the business. And this wasn't going to be yet another craft business that I screwed up on because I was just too lazy to figure out how to make it right. And I was being lazy. I didn't want to sit down and read. I didn't want to listen to audiobooks. I didn't want to hear what other people were telling me. I was also stubborn. I don't know. Maybe this is more of a confessional video. The reality is I wasn't giving my all into it. And it wasn't because I didn't love candles. Who doesn't love a nice candle? It was because I wasn't being a businesswoman. I wasn't taking it seriously. And I wanted to go through the steps that made me get organized in my business. So step one, you need to have a vision. I had about 50 different types of visions for my business. I didn't have a clear path on what I wanted people to feel when they touched my candles, or what I wanted people to know about my brand. I was just like, 8-pillar candles sounds great, and I'm just going to make a bunch of candles. I didn't know what type, I didn't know what wax, I didn't really have a ground to stand on. I didn't have a vision. I had a passion, but I didn't have a vision. So I needed to figure out how to bring my brand to life. But I fell flat on my face because I never really thought to myself, what do I want my business to stand for? The one mistake, the fatal mistake that I made in creating my vision, was that I was hyper focused on how my business looked compared to others, and I wanted to steal other people's looks. I wanted to look like this brand and this brand and this brand. And don't get me wrong, you can have inspiration from others, but I flat out didn't want to be creative. I flat out just wanted to copy people, which wasn't good. It made me, it wasn't authentic. I feel like my brand wasn't connecting with many people. So I just was like, I'm just gonna copy what this girl is doing. Oh, she's doing it so well. Why can I be like her? And then I ended up hating her. You can't be like that. You need to, you know what? I listened to a quote the other day where it's like, you need to, don't ever erase what makes you weird and quirky and what makes you authentic, because you don't want to be like anybody else. And that's what's going to make your brand stand out. And that's where your vision will be born. Step 2 is to have a business plan. And I know it's very cliche. I'm sure you hear everyone talk about it, but I made a business plan for my other business for the first time, and I feel 100% more confident than I've ever did with any of my craft businesses. I felt more organized. I was able to get the finances straight. I was able to communicate with my business partner of several other things that we can implement in the business. I was able to basically see my dreams on paper. Yes, it was a very tedious thing, and it took honestly weeks to do, but I'm glad I did it, because the first one will always take you the longest. And now I feel like I can make a million business plans because I've done the hard work, and it just gets easier the more you do it. Next, you want to get your financials in order. You can absolutely go over budget and start spending on every little thing you see on TikTok, on Instagram, on the TikTok shop, on every type of, I feel like I just dated myself. You're going to feel the need to keep buying several different products for the business when you're just starting out. And that was my biggest mistake. Because I didn't have a business plan or a vision, I just said, I'm making candles, and I bought everything. And you know, I love my husband to death, but he should have stopped me, because I would say I've spent a few $1,000s on craft supplies that I should not have spent. And you know, it was a loss. It was a loss for the business. It was a loss for me financially. It was a loss to my ego, and it didn't feel nice to know that I spent all my hard-earned money on my crafts and I'm not delivering. I'm not getting any type of profit from this, because I made the fatal mistake of jumping the gun instead of just slowly entering whatever craft I'm starting to learn. So you need to be very cost effective. Figure out just the basics. And I know you get excited, and I know that you want to go ahead and buy literally everything under the sun. It's not necessary. And you will thank me for this later. It's going to save you a ton of money, how much you can do with just the basics. And there's a lot of free stuff out there that you can use. I'm an entrepreneur who is very cheap, because I know that I'm a serial crafter and I like to dabble in so many different things. I've learned throughout the years that I can't pretend like I'm swimming in millions of dollars. I need to learn the craft, and I need to be disciplined. And I made a pledge to myself, I will not give up on my candle business. If I don't do this, this will be the last craft that I ever try. And that breaks my heart, because I love crafts. Or it would be the last craft that I try to make a business out of, I would say. Because I've learned to make candles, I just haven't found a way to market it. And now that I'm in this phase of, I'm not going to put this down, I'm not going to give up. it's like tunnel vision. Do not step out of your financial plan. If you only have a budget of $50, make it work. If you have more, make it work. But don't do the most, because with crafts come with a lot of supplies, come with a lot of stuff. And, you know, we had to empty out our apartment on several occasions because things were just so cluttered. I couldn't even live. So take your time and understand crafts cost money. The next thing I'm going to say is getting your entire brand together. 8 Pillar Candles does not have a brand. It doesn't have a brand right now because I'm in the journey of building myself up, and I want to take you guys on that journey with me. I didn't have colors, I didn't have personality, I didn't have a logo per se. I was trying to get myself to be like Voluspa when I just started. Like the comparison, oh my goodness, comparison truly is the thief of joy, because you're looking at businesses that have been around long. I'm 32 years old. I think Voluspa has been around for as long as I've been alive, but yet I'm looking at a brand that's way ahead of the game, that started years, probably way before I was even born, and I'm trying to compare myself to them. You can't do that, and I know it's very hard to do that, to not do that on social media. But you have to be honest. You are starting out, and being an entrepreneur, you're here for the long game. There is no such thing as quick money. There's no such thing as fast money. I don't listen to any type of guru that's trying to any type of get rich type of deal. I don't follow, because a true entrepreneur understands the hard work it takes to pay attention to detail. And I was just watching the Martha Stewart documentary. I don't know if any of you guys are Martha Stewart's fans. I still completely forgot she went to jail. I was very young when that happened, but you know, her documentary spoke to me. She was truly an inspiration, and that's why she is Martha Stewart. She was a perfectionist. She paid attention to detail, very focused, and that took years of learning, you know? And for me to skip over those little things, of course my business wasn't gonna do well. So keeping things simple, your website is simple, your online presence, you have a small online presence, it doesn't matter if you have 1,000 followers or 100 million followers. What matters is you need to get people to know that you simply just exist, and you need to showcase your artwork, your craft, showcase it to the world without a care, but make sure everything you put out is nothing less than perfection. And that's something I am learning on my journey building my business back up. So the next thing that I did not do, which is very silly, is content planning. And I don't mean you're posting once on Instagram and you're posting once on a short once a week, and then you didn't do it, and then you start again, and then you start posting consecutively, and then you forget, and it can't be like that. I've watched many other content creators who have given me solid advice. You've got to be consistent, but you have to be, again, detailed and just clear in your daily content planning. So here's just a brief summary of what I do now. I don't post. I do all of my recordings on the weekend. I don't actually post on Saturday and Sunday, but I make sure that I get all my work done. Monday through Friday is where I post constantly, and I only pay attention to 3 important platforms. YouTube, my favorite. TikTok is next, and then Instagram. I repurpose, I do the reels. I don't post on every platform every day. Mine is probably YouTube, but I have a plan with these platforms. And then as I grow these platforms, I could branch off to other stuff. But right now, these 3 are my focus, and I'm gonna keep going until you really can't stop. So now the next thing, and it's kind of like my final thing, I would say, is staying motivated on this journey. You know, I was making my candles and I had support from my family and my friends, but my bank account didn't reflect that. And I was looking on Etsy and I'm like, I didn't get any sales on my website. And I just was like, you know what? It's not meant to be. But that's not what it is. You need to believe in your products. But in order to do that, you have to stay motivated. And how I stay motivated is I just keep telling my future self, like keep writing letters to my future self on, you know, your future self is going to thank you. Your family's going to thank you. Your husband's going to thank you. Your friends are going to thank you. I don't need to sit and prove anyone wrong. I don't know why I thought that that would be great motivation. That died very quickly when people were just like, oh, she sells candles. Oh, these candles smell. It just wasn't, it wasn't a great motivator. You need to have one thing in your head. And my thing is, I want to see this business become successful. I'm not going to give up. I spent so much money on this damn LLC in New York. I already invested a lot of time into it. I know how to do it. I just need to get organized. I think a lot of us have that problem, being organized in our business. And, you know, some of us are working full time. Some of us are about to have a baby. Some of us are like, have so many other things going on. So it's okay to feel overwhelmed, but you have to stay grounded and just keep pushing. I know it's cliche and I hate cliche, but the cliches are cliches for a reason. And that's just basically it, what I'm going to say. If you want your craft business to be successful, no matter what type of craft it is, no matter what it is, it's competitive. What is unique is you. And you gotta market yourself. Don't be afraid to get in front of that camera. Don't be afraid to show your face. I know a lot of us are scared to show our faces. Don't be, because at the end of the day, it is worth it all. So if you guys like my content, I will be making videos every week, and just follow me. You could check out the link below, and definitely check out my Etsy shop and see if my candles are worth it. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you in the next video.